The deep silence of space was broken only by the steady hum of the Endeavor. Humanity's pride and advanced research vessel designed for exploring the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Its crew, a mixture of scientists, engineers, and explorers, were on a mission to map uncharted star systems, to push the boundaries of human knowledge. Yet, on this quiet day, something unexpected flickered on their sensors, a strange signal. Faint but unmistakably artificial, coming from a nearby asteroid belt. The captain ordered the ship to approach cautiously. As they drew near, the radar revealed a vessel unlike any they had ever seen. It was alive, or so it seemed. The surface of the alien ship pulsed softly with colors that shifted like waves. On a shore, it was neither metallic nor mechanical in any way the crew recognized. They opened communications, sending a standard greeting. Moments later, the holocom flickered to life, and the face that appeared was not what anyone expected. A young alien girl, her large, bright eyes full of both wonder and urgency, stared back at them. Her skin glowed faintly with a soft blue light, and her slender hands moved gently as she spoke with a voice that was calm but firm. "Please come inside of human," she said simply, the words strange but clear. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. It was an invitation, and something more. The phrase repeated, like a gentle beckoning. The bridge was filled with a mixture of excitement, fear, and suspicion. Was it a trap or a call for help? The science officer argued for caution, warning that no one knew what lay inside that living ship. The captain, however, knew that humanity's greatest strength was its curiosity, its willingness to step into the unknown. With a final nod, the order was given: prepare to dock. The Endeavor carefully matched the ship's rhythm, its organic hull pulsating like a heartbeat, then slowly sealed their connection. Airlock doors opened with a soft hiss that sounded almost like a breath. Stepping through, the crew found themselves in a world unlike any they had imagined. The walls were alive, covered with shimmering tendrils that reacted to their presence. The floor beneath them felt soft, yet solid, as if they were walking on a giant living organism. Bioluminescent plants or creatures cast an ethereal glow, lighting the corridors in gentle hues of green, purple, and blue. Strange, melodic sounds floated through the air, harmonizing with the ship's faint pulses. The alien girl, Lyra, led them through this organic maze with grace and patience. She spoke little, but her eyes conveyed a deep intelligence and kindness. She showed them places that seemed like living gardens and chambers where light and shadow danced together. The crew's initial fears slowly gave way to wonder. What was this place? How was it possible that an entire ship could be alive? Questions buzzed in their minds, but Lyra only said, "You are safe here. Come, see what we are." Suspense built with every step, for though the environment was beautiful, it was also unfamiliar and strange. Something about the ship seemed to watch them, responding subtly to their movements and emotions. The captain felt a strange sensation, like being observed by 1,000 unseen eyes. Yet the promise in Lyra's voice offered hope. She was different from any alien they had heard of, a child, yet wise beyond her years, and her invitation was sincere. Slowly, the crew began to believe that this meeting was no accident. The galaxy might be larger and stranger than they had ever dreamed. As they ventured deeper, the glow from the living walls brightened, revealing a vast chamber ahead. The space seemed endless, filled with floating lights that shimmered like stars. Here, Lyra stopped and turned to face them. "This ship is our home and our guardian," she explained quietly. "It has carried my people across many worlds, protecting us through dangers you cannot yet understand." The captain asked about the dangers, but Lyra only smiled sadly. "You will learn soon enough. For now, you must trust. Please come inside of us, not just this ship, but our world, our lives." The words hung in the air like a promise and a warning. The crew stood on the edge of a new chapter, ready to step into a mystery that could change everything they believed about the universe and about humanity itself. Inside the living vessel, the Endeavor's crew felt a mixture of awe and unease. As they moved deeper into the alien ship's organic corridors, the air seemed thicker here, humming with a strange energy that made the hairs on the back of their necks stand on end. Lyra led them with calm confidence, her glowing eyes reflecting the soft bioluminescent light that danced along the walls, which pulsed as if breathing. It became clear that this was no ordinary ship, but a living being connected deeply to its passengers, something symbiotic, ancient, and mysterious. As they walked, Lyra began to share fragments of her people's story, speaking softly, yet with urgency. She explained that her kind had traveled the stars for countless generations, searching not just for new homes but for allies, those who could stand beside them against a rising threat that loomed over many worlds. This enemy was not simply a force of destruction, but a dark power that sought to consume and erase entire civilizations. And her people had long resisted it, though their strength alone was not enough to stop it. The alien girl's words carried weight, and the humans could sense the seriousness behind her calm tone. What was most astonishing, however, was when Lyra revealed the secret of her species, the ability to bond symbiotically with others. This bond was not just physical, but mental and emotional, allowing both beings to share strength, knowledge, and senses in a way that transcended normal communication. However, this gift came with a strict rule. It could only happen if trust was fully earned. It was not something given lightly, and it demanded proof that the other was worthy. That proof, Lyra said, would come through a series of challenges. These tests were not designed to harm, but to measure wit, courage, and compassion, the core values her people believed were essential for survival and partnership. The humans understood that their journey on this living ship was far from over. It was only just beginning. Every step seemed to pull them deeper into a world where science and nature blended so perfectly that it was difficult to tell where one ended and the other began. Strange creatures, neither fully animal nor plant, moved silently around them, watching with curious eyes before disappearing into shadows. The ship's environment itself reacted subtly to the crew's emotions and actions, shimmering brighter during moments of hope and dimming when fear took hold. Suspense grew as the crew members faced the first test, a challenge that required them to solve a complex puzzle formed of shifting patterns of light and sound. It was a test of intellect and teamwork, pushing them to communicate and think beyond the limits of their training. While they worked, Lyra watched silently, her face calm but unreadable. Passing this test brought relief and confidence, but also a deeper awareness of the stakes involved. The next trials would demand more bravery. In the face of danger and empathy toward the unknown, the humans soon found themselves in a chamber that simulated a dangerous environment, where illusions forced them to confront their fears and make difficult choices, sometimes at personal risk to save others. Here, courage was tested, not through weapons or strength, but through selflessness and the willingness to protect even those they barely understood. Each trial revealed more about Lyra's people and their values. And with each success, the humans felt a growing connection, not just to the ship, but to the alien girl who had invited them aboard. Yet beneath the surface, questions remained. What was the true nature of this rising threat Lyra spoke of? Could humanity really be ready to join a galactic alliance built on trust and mutual survival? The crew found themselves caught between hope and uncertainty, eager to learn but wary of what lay ahead. As the test continued, Lyra shared glimpses of her people's history, tales of worlds lost and civilizations saved through the power of unity and understanding. She spoke of her species' sacrifices and the deep bonds they had formed with other beings over centuries. The humans began to realize that this was more than a chance meeting. It was an invitation to become part of something far greater than themselves. Yet, the deeper they went, the more they understood that the ship's living nature was not just a marvel, but a warning. It responded to emotions, and it could sense distrust and hostility. This meant the humans had to be sincere and open if they hoped to survive what was coming. Lyra's presence was a beacon of hope, but also a reminder that alliances required effort and honesty. As the final test approached, the crew stood ready, hearts pounding with anticipation and fear. The ship seemed to pulse faster, as if holding its breath, waiting to see if these strange new guests could truly become allies. In that moment, the crew understood that their fate was tied not only to the survival of their own species, but to the future of the galaxy itself. Trust would have to be earned, and humanity would have to prove that it was worthy of the bond Lyra's people offered a bond that could unlock new strengths and face the dark threat looming just beyond the stars. The story of the Endeavor and its crew was no longer just one of exploration. It had become a test of character, courage, and hope in a vast universe where friendship might be the most powerful weapon of all. As the trials continued, the bond between the humans and Lyra grew stronger, weaving together threads of trust, understanding, and shared purpose. The crew of the Endeavor found themselves not only learning about the alien girls, people, and their mysterious symbiotic abilities, but also forming new connections among themselves. United by the challenges they faced together, Lyra's world, as revealed through her stories and the living ship's surroundings, was breathtakingly beautiful, yet fragile, shaped by countless years of conflict, loss, and survival. Her people had endured wars and hardships that stretched back through centuries, always fighting to protect their home and the delicate balance of life that sustained them. The humans began to understand that this was not just an invitation to alliance, but a plea for help, a chance to stand together before the darkness that threatened all their worlds. But their growing hope was shattered in an instant when sensors suddenly flared with alarms. An unknown hostile fleet had appeared on the ship's long-range scanners, closing in fast and with aggressive intent. The Endeavor's crew quickly rushed to action, their earlier tests of courage now put to a real test in the face of danger. The alien ship around them pulsed in response to the rising tension, its living corridors glowing fiercely as if preparing to defend its new guests. Lyra stood at the captain's side, her expression calm but determined. Without hesitation, she offered the captain the chance to bond symbiotically, a gift that would grant him heightened senses, strength, and a deeper connection to the ship and its power. It was a leap of faith, trusting that humanity could rise to the occasion. The captain accepted, feeling a surge of energy flood through him as the bond took hold. His vision sharpened, sounds became clearer, and his body moved with newfound agility and strength. He was no longer just a man, but a part of something greater, connected to the living ship and the hopes of two species. The battle that followed was fierce and chaotic, with strange ships cutting through space like shadows, firing beams of energy that lit up the darkness. The humans and Lyra's people fought side by side, their movements synchronized in ways that surprised even themselves. The living ship reacted to, shifting its form slightly to shield its occupants and launch countermeasures. The captain, enhanced by the symbiotic bond, led daring strikes against the enemy, his every sense alert to danger and opportunity. The humans began to see their own potential more than just survivors or explorers, but warriors capable of standing against overwhelming threats when united by trust and strength. Each moment of the fight tested their limits, but also showed the power of cooperation between species. As the enemy fleet retreated, pushed back by the combined forces, the ship's corridors slowly returned to their gentle glow, and the crew gathered to catch their breath. The experience left no doubt that the threat Lyra had warned about was real and growing. I had that humanity's role in this struggle had only just begun. The captain's transformation symbolized a new chapter, one where humans could tap into hidden depths of power and resilience by embracing connections beyond their own world. Lyra's invitation to come inside of us had become a reality, not just inside the living ship, but inside the hearts and minds of those willing to face the unknown together. The humans looked around, feeling a mix of pride and humility, aware that their journey had changed forever. They were no longer alone in the vast darkness of space. They had allies, a purpose, and the chance to prove that humanity could be more than just survivors. They could be champions of hope in a galaxy shadowed by rising dangers. The hostile fleet that had attacked without warning soon revealed its true nature, an immense force unlike anything the humans or Lyra's people had faced before. Were strange and terrifying, a fusion of machine and living matter, their hulls covered in sharp moving armor plates that seemed to pulse with dark energy. This biomechanical empire was ruthless, driven by a cold will to conquer and assimilate every civilization it encountered, erasing their cultures and absorbing their resources to fuel its endless expansion. For centuries, Lyra's people had fought alone against this menace, their own strength and the power of their living ships barely holding the enemy at bay. But now, standing together with humanity, they had a chance of fragile hope in a galaxy darkening under the shadow of this relentless enemy. The humans, newly bonded with the living ship and empowered by the symbiotic connection, found themselves at the forefront of the coming battle, their minds sharpened, senses heightened, and bodies infused with alien strength. They worked alongside Lyra's warriors to plan a daring counterattack aimed at pushing the invaders back and protecting the star systems that still remained free. The fight was unlike anything they had imagined. The biomechanical ships moved with terrifying speed and precision, their weapons capable of tearing through conventional defenses. While strange creatures swarmed the outer decks, seeking to breach the living ship's defenses, the humans brought something new to the battlefield, something their alien allies had not fully expected. Their creativity, quick thinking, and adaptability turned the tide in unexpected ways. When traditional weapons faltered, the humans devised new strategies, using the ship's organic environment to confuse and trap the enemy. They combined technology and symbiosis in ways that unlocked surprising powers, such as manipulating the living ship's defenses to create shields or launching bursts of bioenergy that disrupted the enemy's systems. In moments of crisis, the humans' unyielding spirit shone brightest. Even when facing overwhelming odds, they refused to give in, drawing strength from the bonds they had forged not just with Lyra and her people, but with each other. Their courage inspired the alien warriors, who began to see humanity not as inexperienced newcomers, but as vital partners in a desperate fight for survival. As the counterattack unfolded, the living ship itself seemed to respond to the rising hope and determination, its pulses growing stronger and more rhythmic, as if beating in time with the crew's hearts. Battles raged across space and within the organic corridors, where humans and aliens fought side by side, protecting the ship's core and pushing the invaders back step by step. Despite the chaos and destruction, moments of quiet heroism stood out: the engineer, who rerouted energy to save a failing life support system; the pilot, who risked everything to intercept a deadly missile; the medic, who worked tirelessly to heal wounds while the fight continued around her. Slowly but surely, the tide turned. The biomechanical fleet, surprised by the humans' unexpected strengths and the fierce alliance that had formed, began to retreat. Their dark ships disappeared into the cold void, leaving behind damaged but victorious defenders. The Endeavor's crew and their alien allies had not only survived, but sent a message: together, they could stand against even the darkest threats. In the aftermath, the humans reflected on what they had achieved. They had stepped beyond the role of simple explorers or passive survivors, becoming warriors and partners in a galactic struggle that would shape the future of many worlds. Lyra's people welcomed them not just as guests, but as equals, recognizing the unique qualities that humanity brought to the Alliance: resilience, inventiveness, and an unbreakable will to protect life. For the first time, humanity glimpsed its true place in the universe, not just as one species among many, but as a beacon of hope and strength in a galaxy filled with danger and uncertainty. Yet even in victory, the crew knew this was only the beginning. The biomechanical empire would not give up easily, and the bonds they had forged would be tested many times over. But for now, in the glow of their hard-won triumph, the humans and aliens stood united, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: together, they had found a new way forward, a way marked by trust, courage, the unshakable belief that even in the darkest times, light could shine through. With the immediate threat of the biomechanical empire pushed back, but still looming in the darkness beyond known space, a new chapter began for the humans and Lyra's people. The fragile alliance forged through trials, battles, and trust was now official, no longer just a tentative friendship, but a formal partnership, committed to protecting their worlds and building a future together. The captain of the Endeavor, forever changed by the symbiotic bond with Lyra's species, stood as a living symbol of this new era. His senses, enhanced and forever linked to the living ship and its ancient power, marked him not just as a leader, but as a bridge between two species, carrying the hopes of many on his shoulders. In quiet moments, he would feel the gentle pulse of the ship and hear the soft voice of Lyra in his mind, a reminder that their connection was more than physical. It was a bond of trust, understanding, and shared destiny. Around him, the crew prepared the Endeavor for a journey that would take them beyond the edges of the galaxy they once knew. This voyage was not just about exploration. It was a mission to carry a message of unity, strength, and hope to other civilizations who might still stand alone, facing threats too great to overcome by themselves. The ship's organic corridors hummed with life, their soft glow a beacon that symbolized the living alliance between humanity and Lyra's people. The captain looked out at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also a deep pride. Humanity was no longer just a species struggling to survive on a small blue planet. It was becoming a force for good in a vast, sometimes dangerous universe. The message they carried was clear. Humans were ready to stand tall among the stars, not just as explorers seeking knowledge, but as protectors willing to fight for peace and friendship. Lyra's words echoed in his mind, "Please come inside of human." Once a mysterious invitation, now understood as an opening to a greater future, it was the beginning of a destiny that reached beyond the boundaries of any single world or species. The Alliance planned to share their knowledge, their strengths, and their courage with others, hoping to create a network of united civilizations able to resist the darkness together. The humans learned much from Lyra's people, their deep respect for life, their ability to connect symbiotically, and their unwavering commitment to peace, but they also offered something new: creativity born from adversity, a will to adapt and survive, and a fierce determination to protect those they cared for. As the Endeavor prepared to leave the safety of the living ship and set course for the unknown, the crew felt a mixture of excitement and solemn duty. They knew dangers still awaited, and that the path ahead would be filled with uncertainty and sacrifice. But they also knew they were not alone, that the bonds they had forged would guide and protect them through the darkest nights. In this moment of calm before the next great journey, the captain turned once more to Lyra, her glowing figure standing beside him in the ship's organic chamber. Together they represented the merging of two worlds and the promise of many more to come. As the stars stretched endlessly ahead, the Endeavor lifted off, carrying with it not just explorers or soldiers, but ambassadors of a new age, an age where trust could overcome fear, and where humanity could finally claim its place as a protector and friend among the stars. The invitation to come inside was no longer just a call to enter an alien ship. It was a call to embrace a future filled with hope, unity, and the limitless possibilities of a shared destiny.